The divorce papers were signed on a Tuesday. By Friday, Jennifer had opened every credit card statement she'd been ignoring for 3 years, and the total was $23,417. Not his debt, not their debt, her name, her liability, her problem. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to see exactly how Jennifer went from $23,000 in credit card debt on a single income, at 44, starting over, to a zero balance in 14 months, not with a windfall, not with a second job that paid 6 figures, with a plan, a specific, unglamorous, repeatable plan that anyone can follow. Jennifer had been a dental hygienist in Columbus, Ohio for 16 years. Steady work, good benefits, a salary of $58,000 a year that paid half the mortgage, half the groceries, and, she thought, half the credit cards. The operative word is thought. What she didn't know, what her husband Derek had been carefully concealing, was that he'd been transferring balances from his cards to joint accounts and then to cards in her name alone. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. Over 3 years, $23,417 had quietly migrated into her sole name, while she paid the minimum balances without ever questioning the growing numbers. She found out during the discovery process of the divorce. Her attorney pulled the credit reports. Jennifer sat in that office and felt 2 things simultaneously: the specific humiliation of having been fooled and the cold clarity of knowing she was now completely alone with this number. Ohio is a common law property state. That meant the debt in her name was legally hers, regardless of how it got there. Her attorney explained she could pursue Derek for contribution through the divorce settlement, but collection would be uncertain and slow. Jennifer made a decision in that office that would define the next 14 months. She would not wait for Derek. She would handle this herself. She drove home, made coffee, and opened a spreadsheet. The first month was a disaster, but an instructive one. Jennifer did what most people do. She called the credit card companies and asked for help. 2 of the 3 cards offered her nothing. The third offered a hardship program that lowered her interest rate from 24.99% to 9.99%, but required her to close the account and commit to a fixed payment of $340 a month for 36 months. She said yes without running the numbers. 2 weeks later, she ran the numbers. 36 months at $340 was $12,240 on a balance of $8,100. Even at the reduced rate, the timeline felt suffocating, and the other 2 cards, with balances of $9,200 and $6,117, were still sitting at rates above 22%. She almost took out a personal loan to consolidate everything. She got as far as filling out the application before she stopped and did something she hadn't done yet. She called a nonprofit credit counseling agency. That phone call changed everything. The counselor spent 90 minutes with Jennifer. No sales pitch, no product, just an honest assessment of her situation and a framework she hadn't considered. She didn't need to solve $23,000. She needed to solve it in the right order. The counselor reframed Jennifer's entire view of the problem. The question wasn't which balance is biggest. The question was, which balance is costing me the most per month in interest? Jennifer listed all 3 cards by APR. Card A, $9,200 balance, 23.99% APR, $184 per month in interest charges. Card B, $6,117 balance, 22.49% APR, $115 per month in interest charges. Card C, $8,100 balance, now 9.99% APR through hardship program, $67 per month in interest charges. The math was brutal. She was paying $299 every month just in interest, money that reduced her balance by exactly 0. The avalanche method, paying minimums on all debts while directing every extra dollar to the highest interest balance first, is widely recognized by financial educators as the mathematically optimal strategy for minimizing total interest paid. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, documents this approach in its debt repayment resources. Jennifer's take-home pay after taxes and benefits was $3,640 a month. She mapped every fixed expense with brutal honesty. Rent on a one-bedroom apartment, $1,150, car payment, $287, insurance, $194, utilities and phone, $210, groceries, $320, fixed costs, $2,161. That left $1,479 for debt repayment and everything else. She allocated $900 a month to debt, $340 to Card C's hardship program, $415 to Card A as her avalanche target, and $145 as the minimum on Card B. The remaining $579 covered gas, personal care, a small emergency buffer, and what she called her sanity line. $80 a month for one dinner out and whatever book she was reading that month. She refused to cut it because it kept her from feeling like she was in prison. Financial research consistently shows that overly restrictive budgets have high failure rates. Leaving a small discretionary allocation, even $50 to $100 per month, significantly improves long-term adherence to debt repayment plans. This is sometimes called planned spending in behavioral finance literature. Armed with the counselor's framework, Jennifer called Card A and Card B again. This time, she didn't ask for help. She asked a specific question. What hardship or interest rate reduction programs do you currently offer, and what are the eligibility requirements? Card B offered a 6-month reduced rate of 12.99% if she set up autopay and missed no payments. She accepted. Card A offered nothing on rate but waived her annual fee of $95, which she applied directly to the principal. Small wins. But over 14 months, those small wins compounded. Credit card companies are not required to offer hardship programs, but many maintain internal programs that are not publicly advertised. The CFPB recommends calling the number on the back of your card and specifically asking for the hardship or financial assistance department, not general customer service. Always get any agreement in writing before making payments under modified terms. Laws vary by state. Always consult a licensed attorney in your state for guidance specific to your situation. In month 3, Jennifer did a careful audit of her apartment and sold $1,840 worth of items. Furniture from the marital home, duplicate kitchen equipment, clothing, electronics. Every dollar went directly to Card A's principal. She also received a $612 state tax refund. Same destination. She did not touch her 401k. The counselor had been explicit. Early withdrawal penalties and taxes would consume 30 to 40% of any amount she took out, making it one of the most expensive sources of cash available to her. Early withdrawal from a traditional 401k before age 59 and a half typically triggers a 10% penalty plus ordinary income tax on the amount withdrawn, which can result in an effective cost of 30 to 40% or more, depending on your tax bracket. The IRS documents these rules in Publication 590-B. Exceptions exist for specific hardship situations, but debt repayment generally does not qualify. Jennifer printed a simple bar chart and taped it inside her kitchen cabinet. Every time she made a payment, she updated it. It sounds small. It wasn't. In month 7, when Card A hit 0, she stood in her kitchen at 11 p.m. and cried. Not from sadness, but from the specific relief of a number becoming 0 for the first time. She redirected Card A's entire payment, now $415 plus the freed minimum, to Card B. The avalanche accelerated. Month 14. Jennifer logged into her accounts on a Sunday morning. Card A, $0, closed at month 7. Card B, $0. paid off at month 12. Card C, $0. Final payment made 3 months ahead of the hardship program schedule because she'd been sending extra principal payments whenever she had them. Total interest paid over 14 months, $3,847. Total interest she would have paid making only minimums at original rates over 5 years, $14,200. She saved $10,353 by having a plan instead of a payment. Her credit score, which had dropped to 591 during the divorce, a combination of credit inquiries, account changes, and the high utilization rates on the cards in her name, had recovered to 714 by the time the last balance cleared, because consistent on-time payments are the single most powerful factor in credit recovery. She is not wealthy. She doesn't have an emergency fund she's proud of yet, but she owns her financial life in a way she never did inside the marriage. And that, she said, is worth more than the number. If you've ever looked at a credit card balance and felt like the math was simply impossible, I want to hear from you. What's the one thing that's made it hardest for you to make progress on debt? Leave it in the comments. Not for advice, just so other people watching know they're not alone in what they're carrying. And if someone in your life is quietly fighting this same battle, share this video with them. Sometimes the most useful thing we can do for someone is show them that the math can work, even when it doesn't feel like it.